Here we go. And larger. This will be edited quite a bit. Okay. So I've got water, I've got paper towels, I've got a paintbrush. I don't have a paintbrush. Where'd my paper just go? I just had it. Okay. That will be edited out. All right, so take 4. We're going to start with the ones that have the stars next to them. Let's start with dry brush because it takes 2 layers. So I'm going to get some blue. 1, 2, 3, 4. And definitely vary the amount of water. I would really like it if you mixed colors for each of these, your own original colors. So maybe throw a little bit of yellow in there. I want you to make each of these squares like their own individual painting. That's pretty. All right, so palette's halfway done. Guys, this bottom part will be cut off eventually, so you can mark it up or do whatever. All right, plastic wrap takes some drying time. So let's go ahead and do that one first. I like getting colors that I know when they blend together, they'll make colors that look good together. So colors that are opposite from each other on the color wheel, like green and red, yellow and purple, those won't look very good together. So probably colors that are next to each other on your palette are going to work well together. So let's do just a bunch of warm colors. And that is number 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You want this to be pretty runny. And I'm skipping around. Oh, I threw some green in there. That's all right. All right, so with the plastic wrap, I'm not going to put it on smooth like this. I'm going to get a whole bunch of little edges and crinkles in it, so it's really kind of geometric, and just kind of rest it on there. And then let it dry, just like that. And you'll see it'll start to get all these little geometric shapes and stuff in there. It'll look like little crystals. All right, next one to start is splatter. So I want to get a flat area of color down first, preferably a light color. So I'm going to get a really watery red in this area. Maybe it goes from red to orange. All right, that's good for now. Next one we need to start with is rubber cement. So let's put, that's 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. It's a good bright purple with a little blue in there. And we can leave that for now because that's the first step for rubber cement. Now we're going to move over to paper. So all of these 3 resists are ways to block off areas from getting paint on them, but I want to go ahead and have an area or a solid color of paint down first. So let's see, for paper, let's just put this kind of darkish gray color down, maybe water it down a bit. Be a good sky color, like a rainy day sky color. All right, tape, I'm going to jump because I don't want to go next to the don't want to go right next to it because it'll blend. But I'll go ahead and do an area for wax. Oh, this might bleed a little, but it's the same color, so that's okay. Maybe it starts to turn a little purple. This is definitely your chance to experiment with mixing colors. You don't need yours to look just like mine. All right, so let's start at the beginning again with wash. So basic paint application. This is how to apply paint. Wash is just painting the paper. I want to see how smooth you can get that square to be. Trying to have the exact same ratio of paint to water. You might mean moving that paint around a lot, or maybe just going like stroke or line by line. Just real smooth. This one is pretty plain, but it is now done. Oops. All right, I'm gonna jump graded wash because I want to give this one a little bit of drying time. Variegated wash. What does that sound like it's gonna do? It varies. Variegated wash. What? Yeah, or it changes color. That's more graded wash. So variegated wash is going to change color. So think about two colors that mixed together are going to make a new color. What makes green? Oh wait, we already have that color here. You'll think about what colors you use when you're painting this so you don't have a bunch of the same colors in one area. Let's mix, let's mix a purple. So I'm going to start with red. I'm going to go diagonal. And then I'm going to slowly start adding in blue. Barely, oh, I overpowered it really quick. So in the middle we have purple. And then it's going to go straight to just blue over here. And you can go back and kind of move that paint around a little more. So it should go from red to blue, mixing purple in the middle. Maybe more red over here. Real smooth transition of color. Right. Kind of dark. That works. So I've got wash done. I've got variegated wash done. I'm crossing those off with my paintbrush. Okay, dry brushes. You're going to want to go over and get a thicker brush, one of like the hog hair. It's not really hog hair, but it's a synthetic hog hair bristles. But this is good for hair or grass. Choose a color on your paint palette that's kind of tacky or sticky, not too wet. And then you're going to fan your brush out with your thumb. There, now you can see it. So you have all those little individual bristles. There, now you can kind of see. And just kind of drag it along. Ooh, that looks cool. And there's your dry brush. It's like hair or grass. Like that. And I don't care if I go out here because that gets ripped off eventually because it's our tape, which will make a nice white, clean edge later. All right, let's cross off dry brush. So let's go back and do graded wash, and that's where it's going to go from dark to light or light to dark. You can start with just starting with water and then slowly adding a color. Oh, we're bleeding. Oh no. Okay. Push that back over there. You just learned a lesson from my mistake. Just gonna be really careful over there. So with graded wash, if you see in the yellow, it goes from this way, dark to light. But you're gonna be a lot more careful and make sure that that doesn't happen. That was a big oopsie. Like just call that a different one? Yeah, I guess, and just make your key change then. Make a new key. All right, moving on. So paint mixing methods. That's our next category. We've got paint mixing on paper, paint mixing on your palette, and then wet on wet. So if you mix a color on your paper, which is how I paint a lot, whether it's acrylic or oil, I'll load my brush up with 2 different colors and transfer it straight to the canvas. But for this, think about 2 colors are going to mix to make a new color. Let's say green. We got yellow. So fill this whole area with one color. and then blue. So I mixed a color not in my palette, but on the paper. I did not get that color straight from one of these little ovals, which I want you to do. I don't want you to use these colors straight like that. I want you to mix them all the time, because I can tell. Okay, we want to wait on wet and wet, because we need some drying time. But I'm going to cross off on paper and palette. All right, one of the supplies you have in our little kit is salt. So let's put a wash down. Let's see how salt does with this dark color. That was way too much pigment. All right, take a little pinch of salt and sprinkle it in there. And what happens is the salt absorbs the pigment and will leave little teeny tiny white spots. So when it is dry, you're going to brush all that salt off. Well, you can't see it very well. But so the salt's supposed to absorb the pigment. This is really good for like ocean scenes where there's like sprays of water or rain. Okay, so I can cross off salt. Guys, I messed up. 8. How did I mess up? Okay, I should have wash, graded wash, variegated wash, dry brush, on paper, wet and wet, palette, salt. I didn't do palette. Thank you. Okay. So I'm going to put palette here. So what do you think palette's going to be? There you go. So up here, you can mess this up as much as you want, hopefully in your own. So let's mix like a greenish blue color up here. Maybe I want it a little purpley too. Oh, that's nice. Put a little yellow in there. So here's mixing a color on palette. That got really dark. I cheated. And I should have thought, because these are awfully similar next to each other, about making sure that I had a different color next to it. Okay. All right, I think we can go back to the wet on wet. Hopefully you have some pretty clean water, and all you need to do for your first step is just put clear water in this area. And then you're going to drop colors in, and they kind of burst, kind of like tie-dye. Let's stick with warm colors here. It's kind of like confetti or something. Whoa, over. I think I need some contrast. I'm going to throw just a little bit of blue in there. Pretty. All right, cross that one off. We did graded wash. We've done plastic wrap. And wet and wet. All right, you have a little container of rubbing alcohol in here. And that is also going to do kind of what the salt does, where it pushes away the pigment. So that should be right at 10. Let's put some blue greens down. Maybe a blue green that has a little purple to the side. That'll be pretty. You guys still with me? All right, so you're gonna get a Q-tip. And just drop little drops of rubbing alcohol in there. And it just makes these little raindrops. Almost like little craters. Isn't that awesome? You can see it very well. I'm not hearing enough oohs and ahs here. I'm just saying. Oh, good. Okay, because I know a lot of you guys have said you've done this before. All right. Almost done though. So let's cross off the alcohol. Okay, let's do some splatter. So I'm going to choose a dark color that's going to be seen really well on top of this red area. I'm just going to really hold it really close because you don't want your neighbor mad at you because you've just flicked paint all over them. Just go. I'm going to be more careful, and I see a lot of you guys do this too, and block off this specific area like that. Ooh, that looks awesome. So hopefully you guys don't mind getting paint all over your thumbs. It's watercolor, it washes right off. Okay. There's splatter, check. Rice, does the same thing as the salt, but a lot bigger. Where's that at? 13 is gonna be right here. Alright, so you just need a couple. Okay. I don't think I had enough paint. Yeah, I think it'll work. So just leave those resting on there for now. Can you see? Yeah, I might. You know what I mean? Like it didn't seem like there was enough paint there. We'll see what happens. All right, check off rice. Plop. All right, rubber cement is what I have that purple area for. Sophia pause button on that. All right, I just have 3 large containers of rubber cement for the whole class to share, so try not to hog it. All right, so I'm going to dip a Q-tip right into the rubber cement. And I'm going to make do some stripes. Or maybe you could draw some symbol or a letter. A lot of email. No, it peels off later, so it's almost like you're doing a tape stencil or something. Good. Okay, so we'll still have to go back. So rubber cement actually takes 3 steps. So you probably want to do that earlier also. So we have to still go back to that. Okay, you should have something sharp on each of these trays also. I just put a paper clip for scratch. I want you to just scratch into that watercolor paper so it roughs it up, and the areas that are rough, that pigment will absorb more into. So then I'll see all those lines in there. Do you say it's all right? So there's scratch. Ooh. All right. Okay, resist methods. We've got paper block, tape, and wax resist. Paper block, I want you to just get a scrap piece of paper and see if you can fold that down. Whoa. Paint off the side of it. So hopefully you get a nice, clean line. almost, well, same thing as a stencil. Don't use too much water or else it's going to run right underneath that. No! Really? Yep, I guess it is. Okay. All right. Just seeing if you guys are awake. 2 more, I think. So we did paper block. Tape. I'm gonna have to do this recording again. Because I didn't do this first. Tape needs 2 layers also. So here's, because it had a star next to it. Did you guys notice I forgot to do that one? No? Okay. What's this space right here? Next to Splatter. Why did I skip paper towel blot? Oh, because it was wet next to it. All right, paper towel blot. I'm going to make like a dark sky. And then I'm going to use paper towels to make some happy little clouds. No Bob Ross fans here? All right, with the paper towel, and these paper towels are not good at this because these paper towels do not absorb. But in a perfect world, you can get all these little folds and rest it right on there so it absorbs just on those folds. And it should leave a white little cloud. But with these paper towels, you have to hold it for a really long time. And I'm not sure if it will even work. Sort of. Kind of see a cloud shape over there. They work a lot better. What? Yeah. What I also would like you to do is after you make your little paper towel cloud, is if you go back and exaggerate around it and make it look more like a real cloud in there. So, sort of looks like clouds. All right, paper towel blot's done. Rubber cement's not quite dry yet. We can do wax resist. There's a white crayon on all of these trays. This would be a good idea. It would be a good idea to go over all these lines with a white crayon because it'll be like a wall or a barrier. Let's just make something simple. Now I'll paint over that. Let's do a green. Should have really pushed a lot harder with that crayon. Maybe it wipes up a little too. Maybe the crown's old. That didn't work very well. The one that I used before worked really well though. So for this example, I made some circles with the crayon and then I painted black over it and it left it untouched. So use wax resist. Done. All right, back to tape. That blue area is dry, kind of, enough for an example. I'm going to put a stripe down the middle and use that tape to block off that area from getting paint on it. I'm going to use yellow to make a green on top of that blue. And then when it's dry, peel that tape up. All right, check. Rubber cement, I'm going to go ahead and paint really dark on top of this. And you do remember it's not done yet. So I'm going to let the black dry on this. And then when it's dry, I can rub, and that rubber cement will peel right up. Let's see how my plastic wrap turned out. It's pretty cool. Woo. All right. So we've got, did we do everything? I think.